Have you ever wondered if there are technologies that can control the climate? Imagine the power that can turn a clear, sunny day into a stormy, gloomy one, or stop the rain and create cyclones at will. Technology that can change the course of history. Yes, we're talking about something that might sound like science fiction, but what if it's reality? In this video, we take a look at the Sura and Haarp projects, climate weapons or innocent research stations. What secrets are these code names hiding, and how worried should we be? Get ready, because what you're about to find out could change the way you view the world around you forever. What are Sura and Haarp? In the world of conspiracies and mysteries, two names are often used as symbols of mystery and obscurity: Sura and Haarp. But what do these two projects actually represent? Sura is a project started in the 1970s. Strange weather phenomenon led conspiracy buffs to believe that Russia had a powerful climate weapon. But is Sura the Russian equivalent of Haarp? And does it really have a connection to these phenomena? In fact, Sura was created long before Haarp. The project officially focused on upper atmosphere research, with scientists wanting to understand more about the ionosphere and its influence on Earth's climate. Haarp, more properly known as the High Frequency Active Research Program, the Aurora Borealis, became famous in 1993 and is under the control of the military. The project has been associated with various theories, including that it may be changing the climate. How true are these theories? And what is the real purpose behind these projects? The technological features. How do these stations work, and what can they achieve? The Haarp project, also called the High Frequency Active Aurora Research Program, is a program at the University of Alaska Fairbanks that studies the ionosphere, the highest ionized part of the Earth's atmosphere. The most well-known instrument at Haarp is the Ionospheric Research Instrument, IRA, a high-powered radio frequency transmitter operating in the HF range. The IRA is used to temporarily excite a limited region of the ionosphere. Haarp's goal is to analyze the ionosphere and explore the potential on developing technologies to improve radio communications and surveillance. Sura, like Haarp, is a project also aimed at studying the ionosphere. Using powerful radio frequency transmitters, Sura can excite specific parts of the ionosphere to study how they react. This allows scientists to gain valuable information about the electromagnetic process that occur in the upper atmosphere. Over the years, the two projects have become the epicenter of enormous conspiracy theories. But why? Climate manipulation and mental control are among the most widely mentioned. Others believe Sura and Haarp are part of the secret military projects aimed at creating super weapons or are being used for intelligent purposes. Despite all of the above theories, the scientific community rejects these ideas as unfounded and unproven. However, this does not stop people's curiosity and imagination. After all, very often the truth turns out to be stranger even than fiction. What is this climate weapon, and how exactly can it control nature? Imagine a weapon of mass destruction that can move the Earth's layers, control the amount of rainfall, and even manipulate air masses, and all from anywhere in the world. In a matter of minutes, catastrophes with millions of casualties could be caused. Sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? But what if we told you this is already a reality? The key to this technology is precisely the ionosphere. And as we speak, the U.S. already has 3 ionospheric monitoring facilities: the Haarp in Alaska, the Hippus also in Alaska, and another in Puerto Rico. But they're not the only ones. Europe also has its own installation, Easket, located in Norway. And do you know who funds and manages the marvel of this technology? Norway, Sweden, Finland, Japan, China, the UK, France, and Germany. As we have already said, Russia has their Sura located near Nizhny Novgorod. Officially, these facilities are naturally used for research, to improve communications and surveillance. But is that the whole truth? What does HAARP have an instrument that can excite limited area of the ionosphere? What exactly happens in this excited zone? In addition to managing climate and creating natural disasters like hurricanes, tornadoes, and tsunamis, HAARP has another secret ability. Imagine that this project can directly influence your mental state. Yes, you heard right. HAARP can manipulate the waves that affect our brain, creating states of panic, aggression, and even fear. What more powerful weapon than one that controls our very thoughts and feelings? And while HAARP has its time control and mass management, Russia is no further behind with its Sura project. Officially, it was created to study the upper atmosphere, but is that the whole truth? What exactly happens when low-frequency signals are beamed into the ionosphere? What impact does this have on us as humans and our planet? Once Sura was built, scientists quickly achieved outstanding results. The effect of low-frequency radiation on ionospheric currents was discovered. And while HAARP was created years later, Sura was already at the forefront of this research. Sura was the first of its kind of complexes in the world. In the beginning, the project was created primarily for military purposes. Many countries were looking for ways to manipulate climate and weather conditions. In war, this would make it possible to disable enemy equipment, send out a destructive electromagnetic pulse, and even transmit a powerful stream of energy over any distance. Sura and HAARP could heat the ionosphere, creating plasmoids. They are a coherent structure of plasma and magnetic fields. Plasmoids have been proposed to explain natural phenomena such as globular lighting, magnetic bubbles in the magnetosphere, and objects in comet tails, in the solar wind, in the solar atmosphere, and the heliospheric current layer. However, if we were to go a little further into our imaginations, we could cite the engineer Nikola Tesla, who has studied this matter in depth for a long time. In 1893, he said, "The energy impulse created this world, and energy beings still control it. The energy of a thought can determine the movement of the universe." Nikola Tesla also for the first time indirectly linked man, his thoughts, to a certain energetic world, and by his definition, with the properties of the universe. Well, you already understand for yourself the monstrous potential of these programs. According to official data, Sura can warm the atmosphere up to an altitude of 300 kilometers. But can we trust the veracity of this data? Initially, Sura was funded by the Soviet Ministry of Defense. After the collapse of the USSR, its budget was drastically cut. However, this did not stop the American meteorologist Scott Stevens from accusing Russia of causing Hurricane Katrina through the project, which resulted in 1,836 deaths and caused an estimated $97 billion to $145 billion in damage in late August 2005, particularly in the city of New Orleans and surrounding areas. According to Yuri Tokarev, controlling the weather is possible, but not with the current resources of Russia and the United States. In 2004, the United States was the only country to have a nuclear power plant. Atacomedian Mikhail Shikaramaryan revealed that by directing a flow of oxygen ions, clouds could be broken or compressed. Perhaps most shockingly, just after this discovery was announced, there was heavy rainfall over Yerevan. Is this a coincidence? In 2011, Vladimir Zhirinovsky, one of Russia's most provocative political leaders, made a sensational statement. He warned that Russia had weapons that could destroy any country in just 15 minutes. And this is no ordinary weapon, but one that could put entire continents to sleep forever. In 2012, Pakistan's federal secretary accused the U.S. of using climate weapons against his country. He also suggested that laser beams from a NASA satellite may have caused the deaths of a Pakistani military personnel on the world's highest battlefield, the Siachen Glacier. Today, the U.S. invests huge sums in the HAARP program, unlike Sura, which is said to operate about 100 hours a year. The Institute does not have enough money for electricity for its heating experiments. Just one day of intensive work at the facility could rob the range of its monthly budget. But contrast, the Americans run HAARP experiments 2,000 hours a year, 20 times more. The size of the operation by the crudest estimates is about $300 million a year. In the meantime, HAARP should reach its design capacity of 3.5 gigawatts in a few years, an order of magnitude higher than Sura's capacity. Savily Grach, professor at Nizhny Novgorod University and a participant in the Russian project, says, both Sura and HAARP are not weapons, just research labs. But the process developed on them could quite possibly be used for military purposes in the future. We should not hope that the Americans will give up on the temptation to build something special and fantastic features for the common man. Then it will be really too late to catch up. Now, in spite of the general lack of money, we still outstrip the Americans in understanding the process taking place in the ionosphere. But the material and technical base is being destroyed. People are leaving and going abroad, and the gap is narrowing incredibly fast. For our part, we ask, where will all this lead us? Playing with nature is not a child's play. It's time for those who are trying to control nature to realize the consequence of their actions. Why should these millions not be invested in protecting the environment rather than destroying it? How much can official information be trusted given our bitter experience with holding information? Could we be in for a new, even bigger disaster than Chernobyl? There, too, people were kept in the dark. Unfortunately, this time there is no telling where and when something will go wrong, what the implications will be for humanity, and what its scope will be. But one thing is certain, we have been shown what we want to see and told what we want to hear for eternity. As long as this is the case, there will always be questions, there will always be conspiracies, and there will always be speculation. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and let us know what you think.